is Tony Elumelu. Thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Alors, according to you, what could bring the President Emmanuel Macron for the new relationship with Nigeria? Because you hosted him last year in Lagos.
Yes. I think President Macron would like him in Nigeria and actually would love him in Africa. He brings freshness. He brings a new perspective to the relationship between France and Africa. And we were happy when he was coming to Africa because I'm the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and we support young African entrepreneurs, thousands of them every year. And so when President Macron was coming, we sent a mail to African entrepreneurs, say, are you interested in meeting President Macron? And it's funny, it was oversubscribed. People came from all the 54 African countries to meet with him in Nigeria. And he spoke with them, even in English. They saw in him another young person. And I dare say it was an inspiring moment. And not only that, he challenged them. He told them about Steve Jobs. And he said, let where you come from not be any hindrance to your development, not be any hindrance to the progress and achievements you make in life. That resonated in their brains. And most importantly, we signed an agreement there with the AFD, the French Development Agency, led by Remy, my dear good friend. And this is to further provide bank guarantee to SMEs in Africa through United Bank for Africa, Africa's Pan-African Bank, to help them have access to capital. So this visit of President Macron to Africa and Nigeria last year, it was not just a visit to Nigeria, it was a visit to Africa because through that visit in Nigeria, he interacted with all the young entrepreneurs on the continent. It's a very historic visit, and we look forward to more of such.
Okay. And what could bring friends to a country like Nigeria comparing to the other international partners, like Asian partners, for example?
I think it shows the rising importance of Africa, and it shows a present and the people, the French people, who are beginning to prioritize Africa as a long historical partner. And we also reciprocate this. We want to see the relationship continue to improve. We see President Macron's visit was not about aid. He was not talking about aid. He was talking about investments. He was talking about how to support small and medium-scale enterprises. He realized that these guys are the engine of growth of every economy. And so to us, his visit is much more important than many other visits. We know other leading countries in the world also come to Africa. But what we need from the rest of the world in the 21st century in Africa is people who team up with us as private sector leaders on the continent to help provide economic opportunities for our young ones.
Okay. Earlier today, you talked about private equity. What does represent the private equity in Africa today?
Private equity in Africa today is growing, especially French private equity investment in Africa, but we can do more. We can do a lot more. We need to buy more investment because African economies are opening up. There are a lot of opportunities in Africa now. You have a young workforce in Africa. You have a mobile workforce in Africa. You have very innovative and intelligent people in Africa. You have the need for what these investors want to do in Africa. So there's a whole lot. We just need more investment so that the young Africans who have great ideas can power the ideas of capital from the private equity firms and other investors.
And the last question is probably about the role of Nigeria in order to support the growth in the continent, which depends mainly of the diversification of Nigerian economy.
Nigeria is, as I said in my remarks, the current government is trying in terms of ease of doing business. President Buhari's administration, we have just seen Nigeria, the report released by the World Bank, ease of doing business report, that Nigeria has moved so many places, and Nigeria is one of the top 10 fastest developed, change, improving countries in the world. So if Nigeria gets it right at home, then Nigeria can lead in Africa. So we need to make sure we fix Nigeria. And I think that journey to fixing Nigeria has begun. And with that, Nigeria can be a shining example and a good example and a mobilizer for the other African countries. That is where we want to be. That's what we need on the continent.
It's a big challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony Elumelu.
Good to meet you.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.